these are sweet moments in between stuff. And on the left-hand side, the thing that we've just finished is took my son swimming and bodyboarding with his chummy, and hired a board in Bishop. Instead of going to Muizenberg to do longboarding, I thought, let's just make it simple, because it's just such a commitment. I'm having a funny sense of doing it tomorrow morning. Let's see how we go. Get there first thing. And on the other thing that's coming is that Barbara's going off to her brother tonight to go and sort out some family matters, which means that I can do something with the kids and put some meat on the braai, I suppose. I am Benson, and this vlog is about energy flow and what could possibly have been the crappiest week of my life. And I also want to keep it short. I don't want to get into the 9-minute region, because I think that if something is good, you can say it in 1 minute, and it's already 1 minute 24, and I haven't even started yet. There's a lesson to this chapter 1, staring into the eyes of a chameleon. You can only stare for a little while, then it becomes staring into the eye of the chameleon. There's a few chameleons that live on the property, and the neighbor alerted me to the possibility. And she showed me the tree, so I got very excited for at least 2 weeks. Went looking. What I'm not telling you is that some months ago, I came across a scene where a chameleon had fallen out of a tree, and there was a woman running away. So I then rescued the chameleon from her, and then took it home. And I think, we tried to kill it. It didn't die, but we tried to kill it. And then we eventually gave it to somebody else to look after. But the story is, looking into their eyes is the thing. So I go looking for it every day, every few days. Go look to the tree and while I'm looking for it, I'm beginning to whisper nature. Okay, I'm beginning to understand some very basic natural principles, and I'm figuring if my eyes are trying to deal with contrast, and this animal has got camouflage as a mechanism, then I need to almost look differently. I can't look actively, I've got to look passively. I've got to glance and not look intentionally. And that's what happened today. I was doing something completely different. Went to the tap to close it, and when I looked up, the first thing I saw was the eyes of the chameleon. There will be pictures in this vlog. It's the eyes of the chameleon. It's the eyes of a day-old chick. It's the eyes of an owl. It's the eyes of a stray dog that follows you. It's the eyes of a jackal buzzard and other birds of prey. They look at us, they find us before we find them. So whatever you make of that chapter, completely up to you. These eyes are looking at you. Chapter 2, the attempted crucifixion of Benson. After a very successful Wednesday recycling cafe, I got into successful in the sense that there were 2 projects that we could support on one day. One was the recycling cafe, and we cleaned quite a bit. And we got the city of Cape Town to come and fetch the rubbish. And then on an impulse, on an impulse, I took the waste, the organic waste, the garden waste coming from another garden that got started, which we will call the Ubuntu garden, which is quite close to my house. So 2 for the price of 1. And at the end of it, as the guys left, I made a promise to them to give them some money, but I'd given them food. So I asked myself the question, do I owe them money? The answer should have been yes. Now, I want to tell you, I want to deviate into another story. On Monday I was in a meeting And I really hope that the guys who were in the meeting are listening or watching this video, because there was the concept of second chances which leapt out at me. And the principal of Jupiter Road Primary School in Ocean View was telling us about what makes their school different to other schools. And one of it is that when a child fails, they re-look at some stuff, because they've realized that their kids have English as the third, as a fourth language. It's a mixture, funny school. It's got a name, I don't know what it's called, but it basically is an overflow school from Massey and Ocean View. So a junior school. So they what do? They can't depend on English, so the child fails, and then they sit down with the child, and then they go through the paper sum by sum until they find the sum that the child got wrong and ask him how he got it wrong. And based on that interaction, they give him a similar sum, the sums of second chances. And the WECD doesn't like that because it's considered to be cheating. I reveled in that. So after my recycling cafe activities, which I was very proud of because I ticked 2 boxes with one go, one pen, one swipe, I got home and my wife showed me a Facebook post where people were accusing me of all sorts of things. It wasn't people, it was one person. And I had her number on my phone, and I sent her a message and I called her, and she didn't back off from any of the accusations, despite the fact that I think that I didn't have any conflict with her. So the next day I called a meeting with her and her Facebook, a witness, and I said to her, there's quite a lot of accusations here, can you defend them? And the conversation went along, and I suddenly realized, you know what, this sort of trip that I'm on, and I wasn't on a major pluck. I was curious. What's going on in your mind when you are making accusations like this? When you are defaming someone on Facebook? We've all done that before. I've seen it done before. But the bottom line is, I walked away from that meeting completely confused. Subsequent to that meeting, I got some new information. So, and sensitive information. It's the kind of stuff that you don't want to be saying right here. So I'm going to say it later. I'm going to say it discreetly, and then those who want the link can get it. Chapter 3. I've been showing up quite a bit, live and like this, and there's a few places that I'm going to show up, and I'm hoping that it's going to happen. But there's a composting workshop happening on Tuesday morning at 9 at LV Primary, at LV High School, LV Farm. I'll show up there. And then I also want to show up with a guy in Komikiro, who's my neighbor, Adrian Lieberman. And he's a collector of electric vehicles. So I'm going to show up with him, and he's going to give me a tour of his operation. And then next week Saturday I'm showing up with at the Earth Fair market, the Saturday market, and still we've got quite a bit of work to do before I can get there. So I'm happy to be alive. I'm in a good space. I'm still very thankful to God for the way that He chooses to use me, spaces He puts me, words He puts into my mouth, and strength that He gives me. I'm very thankful to my supportive and loving family, whom I love dearly. And Katie, you're not too bad after all. Cheers. Chapter 4. We'll fit this one in less than 15, 20, 30 seconds. One chameleon is a chameleon, 2 chameleons is chameleons, a lot of chameleons is a camp of chameleons. So the collective noun for chameleons is camp. And if you're wanting to do a vlog or a podcast or a blog, it's got to be damn interesting.